All right, we're live. I hope. Hold on here. Let me try 1 second. That for sound. I'm trying a new microphone today. Hold on here. Hello. Hopefully you can. Let me know if you can't hear me. Stella's here. Hey, Stella. Hopefully the sound is okay. If not, let me know and I'll unplug the microphone. This is the first time we're testing this out. We've got quite a few people here already. Oh, going pro with the mic. So hopefully it sounds better. We'll see. I might not have to yell as much, and it's on the off the laptop microphone. Perfect. Everybody can hear me. Hola, Susan. Grace is here. Hey, Grace. I think this is your first time here, Grace. Welcome. Jamie, Susan, Christine, and somebody named the Jason 8. I don't know. This is somebody new. Welcome to the channel. So tonight I wasn't going to go on live tonight. Then everybody started messaging me, kind of saying, "What time are you going? When are you going? What are you making? What are you doing? And so it's us actually really awesome that everybody's following along. But I didn't plan anything for dinner tonight. I'm sorry. We actually for the channel, we're really trying to because we're stuck at home, and so we're using our days to stay productive and learn new things. So we actually filmed. I made for lunch Jason's recipe for his pasta salad. So we filmed that all, and he's editing it right now, and we are going to post that tomorrow when it's done. So you'll have a recipe to make for lunch tomorrow if you want to on the channel. So make sure if you aren't subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get notified when I upload that. That hopefully should be done tomorrow. I think he's almost finished it now. Easy recipe, pasta salad, some vegetables. It's vegetarian, so super simple, and you should probably have everything already kind of in the fridge. So for dinner tonight, we're just having leftovers. So we had the barbecue last night, so we had the chicken, but we got some potatoes left. Just gonna have some potatoes, chop it up with a little bit of egg, make like a potato salad, and just kind of have that just for something to snack on, because we had the pasta salad for lunch and it was pretty filling. So we're not super hungry, but we will be eating. And of course for this episode, we won't keep you here like for an hour or anything like that. But I figured might as well come on, answer maybe some of your questions you had about maybe what you want to make for dinner tonight or tomorrow. If you have some things in your fridge or your cupboards or something that you're thinking, how the heck am I actually going to use this? What can I make with this? So if there's something like that, let me know in the comments, and I'll try and hopefully give you a suggestion. If I don't have a suggestion, maybe some of the other people that are watching could maybe comment and say what's really, what you use for those ingredients. And we did have one at the very beginning here at the beginning. So thanks, Grace. She was mentioning that her grocery store ran out of kale. I can't stand kale. Ugh. Anyways, but some people, you either love it or you hate it. So kale, but what's another good, like, robust leafy vegetable for recommending for a warm salad? So kale's tough because kale's one of the only ones like that's kind of you really like solid like that you can cook without it going completely soggy, Grace. But a couple of alternatives for maybe a warm salad. But what would be like Swiss chard or even spinach would be good. You have to be careful because a lot of the other leafy vegetables, if you're warming them up and like putting them in the pan with a hot dressing, they're gonna really like just turn into almost mush. You'll have to definitely cook them less. If you're looking for other kind of vegetables that are maybe similar to kale with textury stuff, would be maybe like that Chinese broccoli. You could even get bok choy and cut it up into like kind of strips a little bit to use that as well. That would be good. Heat it up. Very similar kind of leafy, vegetables for that. But if you're doing something like spinach or baby spinach or like arugula or radicchio, like any kind of lettuce, I would maybe mix your salad as you would normally mix a salad cold, but then maybe just heat up the dressing. So do the dressing over the stove to heat it up, and then just pour the warm dressing over top instead of like sauteing the vegetables. That's how you kind of do it. Hopefully that helps. So be inventive, from the fridge. No, Nadia, we'll be eating. Hi, Honey Nut Cheerios. I think the only thing you can have with Honey Nut Cheerios, Susan, is breakfast. Does anybody have anything in their cupboards that you bought at the store and you thought it was a good idea at the time, and then it's been sitting there for forever? Let me know. I'll maybe have an idea of what you could cook with that. And I saw Freddie's Facebook that he wanted Cheesies, but he wrote down Cheerios. It looked like Cheerios to me as well. So I would have picked up Cheerios. So canned beans. What kind of beans do you have, Susan? We've got like a whole bunch that I bought, like to make. Let's see here. We bought a whole bunch, but so don't be afraid. Like we bought chickpeas that we have. We also have black beans as well, and then in the other cupboard we have some red kidney beans. One thing what I bought these for to make would be instead of doing like a meat chili, do a vegetarian chili, but just mix in different types of beans instead of just the red kidney beans. You can put in the black beans, and you can even put in chickpeas as well. Yeah, don't be afraid to do that, and then just have it with vegetarian in your chili instead. Chili's always kind of easy one to make and have it simmer and sit, and you can make enough and then freeze it in little containers for the following days if you want. Oh, chickpea for sauce for tonight for pasta. Oh, that's interesting. I've never had chickpeas in pasta, but that would be all right. Anchovies, yeah, Grace. Anchovies, really, I would say Caesar salad dressing would be the best thing to put it in that. It's funny you mentioned anchovies because I was going through all of my box of like knives and tools and stuff, and I found a whole bunch of my old cooking tools from when I worked at the hotel, and I also found from when I did my apprenticeship, I found my old little recipe book that I had, because when I was working in the kitchen, it's so dirty and like it's so gross. It was sitting in the bottom of the box, but I had to, when I was in my apprenticeship, I had to write down the chef made me write down like all the recipes that I worked on and did. So I've got it's funny, I've got a whole bunch of them in here, and some of them I printed up. This is going way back, like printed on like dot matrix printer and stuck in there. But one of the recipes that I was looking at was actually Caesar, because we had to learn how to make Caesar salad dressing from scratch, right? Let me find it here. And I was looking through and I thought, well, I should try and do some of these on the channel. But then I got like looking at it, and the Caesar dressing for the hotel that I worked at, we would make batches, and you needed 2 pounds of garlic, 4 cans of anchovies, and then altogether it was 30 in the recipe as well, 30 eggs and 15 liters of oil. So I will have to obviously convert some of these recipes if I'm going to be making them at home, because I don't really need 15 liters of Caesar dressing. So, yeah, little blue book. There's there's some neat ones in here though. There's some there's some sauces and stuff that I'll do. Yeah, so it's kind of I can't believe I actually found that stuff written in there. So yeah, kind of neat. But the Caesar dressing actually from the hotel, it was actually a really good Caesar dressing. It had a lot of garlic in it, and it had the anchovies in there as well too. You could also make Caesar dressing without anchovies, because if you don't want to have the seafood, like the fish, some people don't want to have that on there. Oh, it's Paul. That's too funny. Paul. I'm going to assume it's Paul. I think if it's Paul Marshall, maybe that's what I remember. Hopefully you're well. So long ago. So if you're just joining in, Paul, I'm obviously at home, not doing, so everything's kind of coming back. We're cooking from home. And figured I might as well do it on YouTube, talk to our friends, and this is where it's been. That's too funny, small world. And I had another person comment on my YouTube channel today, this guy Mike that I used to work with at the Hotel Vancouver. I don't know how, he must have found me through Facebook or something. And yeah. Oh, Paul in room service. Oh, okay, Paul, room service. Yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And yeah, this other guy, Mike, he commented and he was watching the other day too. So we're going back like a long time. This is like 10, 15 years ago. So kind of neat. So Dean, why do you need a recipe? You're good enough off the cuff. Yeah, I guess for recipes, Dean, I mean, with cooking, yeah, cooking, a lot of it is just kind of throwing stuff together, right? And it's very similar. But when in a lot of the stuff in the hotel, obviously for consistency, when you have something on a menu, and more importantly, like this was done for, say, like a banquet menu or something like that. You want, when you go to a restaurant, right, you usually want to have the same, like if you're going in for a Caesar salad today, you want to have it, and if you enjoy it, when you go back to get the same thing, you do want to have the same Caesar salad, obviously, because that is the consistency of it. So that's why some of the things were recipes. So if it was on a set menu, like on the menu, it was pretty standardized in terms of what you for ingredients. But I mean, if you're making something at home, if you're missing something or you put a little bit extra this, extra bit of that, it's not a big of a deal. But for the hotel, it was consistent. So no, yeah, some people don't like anchovies. I think some people say they don't like anchovies though, Stephanie. And if you tasted one homemade, fresh, with or without, you might not be able to tell the difference. I guess unless you're allergic to it. Food, and yeah, food does bring people together. I can't wait to have kind of people, hopefully, eventually come over and we cook together. I've had a couple of friends that actually have said they're going to come over. A friend of mine, she's going to come and show how to make fresh pasta. So that would be kind of cool. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that because we've got the space to do it now. So hopefully entertain and do some cooking that way. Fried caper, yeah, fried capers are really good. Deep fried capers, they kind of like when you deep fry them, they kind of open up. They're good with Caesar salad on top. You can just put them on there as well. They're also good. People have, I'm not a big smoked salmon fan, but people like capers and smoked salmon. So something for a little different is if you deep fry them. They're actually really good. They're kind of like a little snack. Really salty though. So I'm having leftovers all the time. Okay, Susan, good question. Do you microwave, reheat in the pan or stove? More spices, new sauce if it's not dry. Yeah, so we don't use the microwave a ton, but what we'll kind of do is for leftovers, like for example, when I made the potatoes yesterday, there's extra potatoes. And what I'll do is kind of do something different with them, and we would have them cold. So we're gonna make, I have some hard-boiled eggs, so I'll chop up some eggs, an onion, and make it into like a fresh potato salad. That's something what I would do. Don't really reheat stuff too much. If I do, I would put like, if we had like the chicken skewers, I would just put them in the oven quickly. Yeah, don't really like using the microwave very much. Isn't this maybe melting butter? That's kind of it. Oh, show you the potatoes. Yeah, they're not ready yet. They're not ready yet, but they're just kind of sitting in the fridge. So, but oh, Grace, good point. Yeah, so you could actually make, like Susan, that's a good point with great mix. You could make like a leftover into something else, like a curry or something like that. So for something like potatoes, you could make you could use it to make like a kind of a stew or something, just to add that into there. Pasta sauce is easy to heat up as well. That's a super simple one. We made pasta sauce the other day, and the other couple days ago. You could heat that up quite simply, and then maybe cook a fresh batch of pasta. We still have the sauce we have to use up. We'll make pizzas with them, so that's something different to use the sauce. But curry, yeah, so curry's good. Oh, Miranda's here. Oh, Margaret's here. Finally, she made it. Figured out how to do a comment. For the channel, I did a video today and I uploaded to my channel. Well, obviously most people here that are commenting know how to do this, but there's been a few people that have asked me how I can join the channel. So if any of your friends are trying to figure this out, if you're sharing the channel, I have a video on there on how to comment live on YouTube. So maybe there's some people watching that haven't commented yet. If you go look, there's a video on how to join in on the chat and do it. Oh, curry. Yeah, I haven't had a curry for a while either, but yeah, curry is good. Easy too. We could do a curry on the on the channel. Curries would be good, Susan, if you have like you could do chickpeas with curry. And add pork chops. Stephanie, what you have a lot of pork chops. I saw on your Facebook today. You cooked something with pork, I think, in the in the cooker. Sure, Nadia, you can ask any cooking question, or I'll try my best to answer it. I don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything, but oven baked chickpeas with spices, truffle. Yeah, truffle oil is really good. It's kind of good on everything. You got to be careful though. You can't put too much on because it's quite strong. Truffle oil is good on that. Truffle. You know what else truffle oil is good, kind of drizzled onto, is popcorn. Oh, Grace, yeah, this is your first time here. We're all about the we're all about the we're all about the Instant Pot there. I think everything we cook, like when we do the live stream with actual cooking, we've had something going in the Instant Pot at all times, whether it's potatoes or rice, a sauce. We cooked pasta in that today. So it's super easy. I haven't done any of the things in the Instant Pot, like I know you can make yogurt in there, and like there's even dessert recipes and stuff like that. I haven't tried any of that, but one day I will. Yeah, truffle. You can kind of drizzle on Susan, kind of on anything. Like it would even be good if you were to grill asparagus. You could kind of drizzle a little bit over the asparagus. You don't need very much, like a couple of drops, because it's quite fragrant and pungent. But it tastes good. Some people don't really like it, but I like it. It smells really good. How do you make? Oh, good question. Make a perfect roux without being clumpy. So the secret for making a roux, gosh, this takes me way back now, because I haven't done it for a while. Is you want to make sure you can't you don't want, you have the butter and it's hot, and then you want to whisk it, or add in the flour to that. Once it's and then that shouldn't be lumpy. It's the ratio is 1:1 with oil or it's usually butter, but you can be oil. So if you have, say, a pound of oil and then a pound of flour, make sure all the butter is melted first, then add it slowly and stir it around. And then as long as you're working it, Nadia, it should be fine. And you'll be okay there. Also, too, anything you put a like a roux into to thicken, you ideally you want to strain it, because there will always be some, you want to make sure it's really cooked out so the flour gets cooked, but you do want to strain it to take out any of the little bits, that lumps that are always kind of left over. That's just kind of a secret there. A tip for thickening stuff, if you want to kind of skip the roux and take a bit. It's not necessarily a shortcut. It's just a different way of doing it. It's called beurre Meunier, and it's butter and flour still. But what you would do, instead of melting the butter, it's room temperature butter. You take the butter that's soft, and same ratio, 1:1, and you add the flour to and then work it in so it's cold, and then at room temperature you can mix it all in together. And then to thicken your sauce, if your sauce is boiling on the stove, you can add a little bit, whisk it in, add a little bit, whisk it in, and it will thicken very similar to having a roux that's cooked. The only difference would be, like, a lot of times if you're cooking the roux, it is going to be dark. It's obviously because the butter is going to caramelize. It's going to get and the flour is going to cook. It's darker, so it's kind of better for a darker sauce. But if you want it for quick kind of thickening, that's the way to do it. And doing that, the beurre Meunier is better than doing like a cornstarch and water, because that's just kind of doesn't really give it any flavor. At least if you add in the butter in there, you're going to get the flavor from that as well. So hopefully that's a little tip. But yeah, the ratio is 1:1, Nadia, kind of for everything. And Susan, a roux is used. It's a traditional way of thickening sauces. It could be with, and there's different ones. There's like even with cream sauces, it would be thickened with roux. Takes me way back. I have to dig out my old, I can't remember all the terminology. I should dig up one of my old textbooks to remember half of these ones. I know how to make it, but I can't remember all the it's like, you know, all the theory behind it. And then Christine, yeah, cheese and chorizo to the roux. Yeah. Cheese and chorizo would be good in basically anything. Nadia, temperature when adding milk or gravy. Like, sorry, I don't understand the question. Like adding the roux, but you would want to add it would be hot. So the roux, if you're making a roux because you're cooking it on the stove, it would be hot as you add it in to the other sauce. Yeah, you start. Yeah, if you start. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you start with the roux, then add the liquid. So Susan's okay. Making a dish with roux. Yeah, first sauce. So it's good for it's for basically. I mean, the easiest way I think what most people would use it for at home, like cooking regularly, would be if you maybe had like we're making a roast beef, or even a turkey, I guess, with the pan drippings, and it would be using the stock or the drippings from that to thicken up, and you would use roux to make that a thicker gravy. As there, some people, like a lot of people at home, for a shortcut, like I know my parents always did, is they would just use water and flour, or water and cornstarch. But if you do use a roux, it's kind of the traditional method to do it. It takes a little bit more work, but the flavor is a lot better. That's why I said we use the beurre Meunier, which is just butter, not melted butter, but room temperature, and added that into it, because you're gonna get more flavor than just using water and flour. Homemade chips and gravy. Yeah, I could do homemade chips and gravy. That would be a good one to do. Yeah, I could do that. Homemade French fries. We'd have to do like baked fries. That'd be okay. We could do that in the oven. That's always good too, because we don't have a deep fryer at home, or we don't have one of those. Does anybody have an air fryer, like these kitchen gadgets? But I heard the air fryers are pretty good for fries too. But I don't have one of those. Maybe for future Christmas present or something. But we can do chips and gravy. That'd be good. Oh, Stephanie, poutine. Have you ever had poutine, Stephanie? Can you make spam fancy? No. Avoid spam, I think. If you don't eat flour, what can you use instead? For thickening stuff up, Susan, you probably would be using, I would say, cornstarch. Then I think would be probably the simplest one. Just a little bit of cornstarch and water added to something. You could also use, like, if you're using, say for example, instead of a roux, because a lot of times you would use, if you're making a soup, right, and it's not thick enough, you would have a roux in a soup as well, like a cream-based soup. Another thing you could use, Susan, would be, if you're making maybe a sauce, is you could actually use potato. The starches and potatoes from that will thicken stuff up as well. You would have to, obviously, if you're going to add potato to a soup, you'd want to cut it up and then have it go in, and then you would also you'd have to blend it so the potato is obviously not pieces of potato, so it can thicken up. One way to maybe, to do that would be with potato. That's kind of good. Some of the like soups and stuff that are thickened with potatoes are quite good. Yeah, Stephanie, I've never used an air fryer. Arrowroot, arrowroot's another one that would work too if you don't have flour. Another thing you could do, like if you're trying to thicken up stuff, is like for sauces, and a lot, like if you're not, a lot of the sauces, it's just reducing them more on the stove. So they'll obviously, as the water evaporates out of it, they will get thicker. That's one way to do it. Same with soups, is if you reduce it a bit more, it's gonna have it will get thicker, right? But next time, Susan, if you're having soup, if you're making like a cream-based soup, instead of, if you wanted to get it thicker, peel a couple of potatoes, chop them up, and just throw them in, and then blend it. If you have one of those bar blenders, that's the best way to do it. Christine, good question. I used to have a stone, and no, not very good. It's like an art, is to sharpen your own knives. When I worked at the hotel, we had someone there that was his dad did like those ice carvings, and he had a stone that he would do, and it's like an art to be able to sharpen your own knives. So he would sharpen them for us if we were nice to him. And then the odd time too, they would have mobile. There's a company that went around, and they would have, so someone would come in, they would park their van in the loading dock, and you'd take your knives out, and they would sharpen them all for you, for whatever. It wasn't very expensive to get it done. So that works out. That's usually better than trying to do it yourself, because what happens if you're sharpening a knife when you're doing it on the stone, if you're off on the angle, you just end up making things worse than it was. So it's always kind of better to have someone that knows how to do it properly to do it. I had a stone as well. I was never that great on it. And also too, some of the knives have different, like if you own different brands, they have different so it's kind of like some of the knives are, like, I found too, it's easier to sharpen on your own as well, as opposed to doing it. So I just found it easier to have someone do it. Like some of the knives, like these are old now. I don't think they even make them with wooden handles anymore, but the old Victorinox knives, the metal is actually a lot softer than, say, the Henkel's knives. Just the steel is different. So to sharpen this one takes a lot more time, and a bit more precise than getting these ones sharpened. So these would be easier to sharpen. They would lose their edge more or quicker than these ones, but just different knives. So it's easier to go and just, I think, get them professionally done. It's under $10 a knife. It's not that expensive, and you're better off. I have other than that, like for maintaining them, you can have a steel. So you can, like the steel, I can't find mine. It's somewhere, but like the steel where you do it that way, it doesn't actually sharpen. It'll straighten stuff, but it won't actually make it sharper. So that's, you want actual stone if you're going to sharpen your knives. So a lot of mine have to get sharpened because they've just been banged around so much. And they haven't been sharpened in years, because I kind of just got back to cooking for the most part. But where would you go? They used to have, I mean, used to go when the hotel used to come by, so I don't, but do they still have House of Knives around? I don't know if they do, because a lot of the knives I bought at the time, this is going back years, like this has got to be a 20-year-old knife, was House of Knives. And they used to do sharpening there as well. You could drop your knives off and they would do it. I would just check Google and just say, hey, like mobile knife sharpening, and there's going to be somewhere that will do it. And it's worth to do that. If you want, like I mentioned to Stephanie, I need to order another one actually, because I mentioned to Stephanie, if you're wanting a knife that you don't have to sharpen a lot, this is like the best. These are the best ones. I sent Stephanie the link to the Henkel one, but this is the one from Victorinox. They're very similar shaped, but these, I don't know if you can see, this one's almost lost all its serration, but it's kind of like it's curved like a French knife, which we talked about, but it's serrated and it will stay sharp. It just stays sharp for so long. It's a perfect knife for at home, because you can still really chop and do all the stuff you want with it, but it's not going to lose its edge the same as like the French knife like that. So that's one thing to look at too. Salmon, so it's not too dry. Yes. Probably the best way is, I have some salmon in the freezer too, actually, I find. Would be, you could poach it. So you could poach it in some water with lemon. That's going to keep some of the, as long as you don't, I guess the key with salmon, especially if it's a wild salmon, is not to overcook it. if you overcook it, no matter what, like even if you're to poach it in a bowl, a pot of water, it's still going to taste dry. Just because the wild stuff doesn't seem to be as it's not as doesn't seem as fatty as the farmed salmon, which is kind of But one way to do it, maybe we could do it. We'll do this like this when I do it in the oven. Is you can do them in, if you do it on the barbecue or even in the oven, is do them in like pouches, foil pouches, and you can put a couple slices of lemon in there, some herbs on top, and then seal it up, and it'll kind of steam in there and keep a lot of the moisture in there. That's kind of one way to do it. But I guess the real key is just not to overcook it. Can I post a link? I will post. Yeah, I'll dig it up because you can get it on Amazon, Christine. I will put it in the description so you can everybody can kind of see what knife it is. That would be cool. I know we have people here from the States and from Canada, so I'll put a link to each store. I'll try and track it down to find. And House of Knives. Oh, that's cool. It's still available. Yeah. So there you go. It is still around in BC. I don't know about here in Alberta. I haven't been in the malls yet, but so House of Knives is a good place. They used to do sharpening. They probably would still do it because I know they used to do all the knife sharpening there as well. Yeah, hardware store would be good too. Or sometimes I know there's like a sewing store, somewhere where they would sharpen scissors, like wherever they sell scissors. So there's obviously, I think cutlery stores is probably the best bet, but. And then you can also, if you're adventurous, you can. I mean, House of Knives they do sell stones, but it's a lot of work. It's easier just to kind of get someone to do it, and they're like, takes them no time because they've got the machine to do it. It's just a lot faster. Yeah, that's it. Any other questions there? Let me see if I make sure I didn't miss anybody. I'm just going to go back here. I could actually do a video. I did a video going back to the roux. I did a video on. I'm going to start to do some quick little videos on some of the basics of cooking in the channel. And I filmed one today. It sounds simple, but just how to chop an onion, how to dice an onion properly. So that will be going on the channel in a day or so. But maybe I'll do something over the stove showing how to make a roux when I get some flour. No, I'm actually not cooking tonight, Stephanie. We already had. I think you came in maybe a little bit late, but we have some leftovers, and we're just gonna have what's left in the fridge. But something maybe tomorrow. Yeah, so some basic stuff. Nadia is coming up on the channel just to kind of fill the time in the days. So if I'm recording something, I will do some basic skills. It's funny because I started researching and looking, and I'm remembering all these things from when I was in my apprenticeship and first actually like learning how to do stuff that I learned how and got taught, and just some of the old. It's like riding a bike, kind of. You don't forget how to do it, but you kind of think back and remember how you actually first learned it, and how the people that taught you and showed you how to do things. So hopefully I can maybe teach some other people some basic skills. I'm not necessarily I wouldn't say I'm the best chef out there, but I did my time, I guess. So it's kind of fun to teach what you know a little bit with some of the stuff. This is funny. I was just looking at my knife again. I was given this back in when I was in high school, actually. So this is how I'm dating myself now. But so if you buy and get good knife, like get decent knives, they will last you forever. This was given to me by the chef, the instructor, because I did culinary arts in high school before I did like a work experience to go to a hotel, and I got set up with like a whole knife roll of all the knives, these Victorinox knives. I've still got this. So this is from 1994, and it's still perfect. The handle's a bit worn, but it's still out there. Oh, Salvador's here. It's too funny. Hello. Remote guest. Good question, Christine. Yes, I'm hoping. We have to test this out ourselves, but yeah, hopefully we can get. mean, right now I'm hoping eventually we'll have someone come over to be able to share their skills and their recipes. But in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out how to do the live stream with someone else on the other end of the camera, and we'll do maybe an interview and have them cook or barbecue at their house. Oh, there's Jason.
I'm editing a video. I'm editing my recipe for jalapeno and walnut pasta salad. It's really good. So I'm just editing that video. It's going to be good.
Yeah, Nadia, if you want to join in, you can do something for sure. We have to get hooked up on the stream. So we'll figure it out whether we can do it. If anybody wants to, if there's a recipe that you have, for sure, let me know. Send me a message, leave a comment, or send a message on Facebook that you want to be on one of these videos. If we can't maybe do it live for whatever reason, for technical difficulties or timing with time zones, we can do one and record it, and then I can just post it up on the channel later. That'd be awesome, because it'd be kind of neat to see what some other people are cooking. Because I know from seeing a lot of the pictures that everybody has sent over, they got some pretty good dinners actually. So it'd be nice to kind of share some of what you are eating and making at your house. And Sunday brunch stuff does sound good.
Yes, Nadia, I love jalapenos. Ask Christine. Jalapenos, habaneros, any kind of pepper. I add it to everything. Hey, Steph.
Just going back to the question, eggplant. Yeah, good question, Margaret. We can do eggplant. I don't have any in the fridge. I'll have to get to the store that is and see if there's any available. You know what are good though? I can tell you right now. Instead of you get the big. You're probably thinking like the big eggplants, the darker ones. They're good roasted. So we did the roasted vegetable episode with roasted vegetable episodes. You could slice them thin for that, and roast them off in the oven, kind of the same way. But in terms of eggplants, I think a better tasting one, and one that is not as like chewy and bland as the big ones, is the I don't even know what they're called. I think they're the Asian. They're more like the purple ones, the thinner eggplants, Japanese eggplant, I think it is. Get one, try those and cook those up, because you can slice them at the same, do them the same way, but they're not as like the outer skin part's not as chewy, and it's just a bit more delicate, I guess would be the best way to describe those. And we do love spicy foods in the fridge. We basically put spice because, I mean, we don't use salt other than what's in the foods, but for any recipe, it has jalapenos in it, or it'll have habaneros. So our fridge is full, and our freezer is full of frozen peppers and that kind of stuff too. We love spicy stuff. And actually, that reminds me of the freezer. Christine had messaged me before the show and to talk with a question about freezing stuff, because obviously we're not making as many trips to the grocery store. We shouldn't be making as many trips to the grocery store. So it can be sometimes maybe challenging to see what, to know what we have. And if we're buying stuff, a lot of times what's left in the fridge might be going bad. So she was kind of mentioning what you can freeze, and you can literally freeze almost anything. So if you have something in your fridge, for example, like you can freeze if you have eggs. Now eggs will last quite a while in the fridge anyways, but if you do, you can actually freeze eggs individually into ice cubes trays, crack them, then freeze them, and then take them out and put them into a plastic bag and use them as an egg for once they're defrosted again, you could use it for anything that in a recipe in regards to what calls for an egg, or even into an omelet, something like that. And what else you can freeze if you have. We've frozen jalapenos fresh. We'll freeze them. Even I know a lot of times when you buy like a bag of avocados, they always go ripe all at the same time. So Jason, you want to obviously take them out of the peel, take the skin, and he'll put them into little bags of the chopped up to use for different things. So you can take them out and just put them into kind of whatever. You can even freeze. Garlic you can freeze. garlic stays for quite a while on the counter anyways, as long as it's, you know, kind of dry, but you can freeze garlic, you can freeze herbs, you can almost anything. The thing you don't really want, maybe don't want to freeze, is like some of the, like some fruits and stuff, like, because well, you can, but they'll just go they'll go really soggy. Like if you have extra bananas, make sure you peel them, then put them in. But once they're defrosted, you have to put them in a smoothie or something. They're not going to be the same. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. So cheese. So there's certain things like that will change the texture. Not like it's gonna, you can not, you know, not gonna make you not want to eat it, but it's just kind of a lot different. So for something that like cheese, yeah, if you grate it, you'd have to put it into an omelet or into a sauce or something like that. It's fine. And avoiding brunch. You can make brunch. You know what would be good? We could do eggs. I do like eggs, like poached eggs on toast. That's my kind of breakfast. That's kind of a good one for brunch. And making omelets. An easier thing for than an omelet would be like making a frittata in a pan. We could do a frittata one day on the stove, because that way you don't have to worry about making individual omelets for everybody. You could do one big pot and a pan of frittata, same way. Yeah, it's not. Jason was working by the window, so that's why his vest is on. He's editing that video, but so there we go. That's it. But I'm not cooking, so we'll let everybody go, because I know it's coming up to 6 here, and everybody's probably going to be having their dinner pretty soon. But I wasn't planning on doing a video tonight, but it's kind of neat when everybody kind of started messaging me going like, what's going on? Are you going to do a video? So jumped on, hopefully answers some questions, give you maybe some ideas for what you're going to cook for dinner tonight or the next little bit. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we have the video coming up with that recipe for the pasta salad tomorrow. And then just subscribe. It always helps the channel out. If you did like this video, I see 6 people have kind of liked it. And look down below when you're watching this, hit the like button. And let's see that jump up. And then, yeah, we'll enjoy our videos. We won't do this every day. The goal is to maybe do maybe 3 days a week coming up. But we do have, again, because we haven't been to the grocery store for a while, we're getting lower on some stuff on fresh food. But we'll do a video maybe on how to like do some dinners with some frozen stuff, because we've got lots of frozen vegetables that we bought, and we'll do some frozen stuff maybe, and some ideas for that, because it will be hopefully useful for everybody. And that's it. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And have a great night, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye. No.